Just use an example, like this is a brush fee, this is a street maintenance fee, and not a general fee that's kind of can sway from one end to the other based off interpretation.
Per lot, you know.
Ah,
Unfortunately, it generated like almost $98,000 a year in revenue for us for a long time, and none of it, some of that we could collect, some we couldn't. So, and then somebody suggested putting liens on property. We can't come out ahead on that, I'll promise you. So, we stopped collecting it, I'm thinking 3 years ago, Neil? Was it 3 years ago when we
2018.
stopped
2018.
do it?
We moved here in 2018 and we paid it 1 year.
Okay, you paid it 1 year, so 2019, so that's about 5 years ago then,
Yep.
okay.
Yep.
So
I think they stopped doing it
collecting
when
them, so we
COVID.
just don't, we had to get it off the books.
Yeah, we might have paid 2019 then.
Okay, somewhere in that range, 3 to 4 years.
Yep.
5 years maybe. But that's basically what it is. It's just we haven't collected it. There's no reason to have it on the books.
And I'll just mention when we moved here and we got the maintenance fee in the mail, somebody said to me, "Yeah, the city collects it, but if you don't pay, they don't do anything about it
That's the
anyhow."
whole deal.
So
Yeah.
it wasn't really a big encouragement to pay your bill. So-
Unfortunately, we built that income into our budget every year. We budgeted that income and didn't necessarily collect it. So kind of a, you know, well, take it from there, Dennis. We'll go on. We'll get out of that one.
Then the next item is discuss home occupation workshop between EDC, planning and zoning and local businesses. It's a discussion item. I don't know if anybody's here to talk about that or not. It was Linda's the one that asked us to put it on there, I believe. So I don't see her here. You here to talk about it, sir? Okay, okay.
Yeah, we,
Your microphone on, Ken. Is that little green light on?
it is.
It is? Okay.
Can you hear me or can?
Yeah, I can now. I was having a
Okay.
hard time hitting.
Maybe I wasn't close enough.
Oh, okay.
All right, yeah, Leslie and I had a meeting with Linda Bridges, this week, and we talked quite extensively about the home occupation. Our plan is to set up a kind of a community workshop, to bring in businesses and kind of find out what they're looking for specifically and things that they can live with and live without. She's got a great, write-up about home occupancy. She's done a lot of research on it, and she's honed it down to maybe, 4 or 5 chapters instead of maybe just one. But we think we'd like to get this moving forward. So what we've done is set up a meeting in January. We've got for January the 23rd. She had reserved the event center here for that date. So we're going to take that over with the P and Z and get the word out either through the website and or any other means that we can to get as many in here as we can to get a little more input on what they would like to see and what could work best for all of us. So there is going to be kind of a workshop put up. Our meeting for January will be January the 28th for P and Z. So after we do this little workshop, that'll allow all the members of P and Z to hear and see what we collect from that meeting as well. So we think that will give us a chance to do some more review of it, see what kind of documentation we have, and then be able to, maybe at some point, be able to make a recommendation to the city council for ordinances that may be needed to put this in place.
Appreciate it.
What, without a lot of glory, what is the bottom line to this? You're trying to restrict home occupation? You're trying to tax home occupation? Try to get a handle on it? What's the deal?
Not really. I don't think there's really going to be much tax collected on something like this based on what we've seen so far. There will be some fees associated with it. If somebody does have a home occupation going on, for example, somebody that does nails, somebody that does accounting work in their house, this is going on in Morgan's Point Resort right now. And it's not being regulated in any way. So by us being able to put some regulations in place that we're comfortable with, that everybody can follow, and we can keep things out that we don't want in, such as small engine repair, mechanical repair, things that are smelly, chemicals, a lot of noise. We're trying to restrict those things so that the neighborhoods that these are already in and would be in as we go forward would have some guidelines to look at that can be measured and can be, held them accountable if by chance they don't fit what we think should be what they're doing in their home occupancy type scenario.
Okay, so you're trying to prevent a problem. Is there a problem?
Not that we know of, no.
Is there a need for this?
Well, of
Because
course,
the problem is that you're trying to define what you can and can't do.
Mhm.
And that's kind of a slippery slope.
Mhm.
You know, we like. No. Well, it sure is. Yeah, I think we have enough people trying to decide what you can do in your own neighborhood, in your own house. We don't need any more help. I mean, that's just my opinion.
Just to dovetail into Neil's point of view, our guidance, that was something that was brought up during my meeting with Ken and Les. So there's no disconnect in what their marching orders are if they will meet, and I think they are planning on meeting with you all on a more regular basis moving forward. They just haven't gotten there yet, but they are going to start doing that. And making sure that if they have something like this, they wanted to go down that road, that they would come to you all and get that guidance so that it's not wasting their time. And that goes back to what Neil was saying. It's not something they're an extension of you. You get to direct that work product. But they have been advised of that, and I think that they're heading in that direction. And correct me if I'm wrong, sir, but I think this might have been more of an EDC driven,
Absolutely.
from my understanding.
It was.
Okay, so I think that's where it started, but it's like I explained to whoever I was talking to. I talked to a lot of people, but I said, both of those are extensions of the governing body, and so they both need to talk to governing body to get kind of that kind of direction. Going back to what Neil said, they're an extension of this of you, and their work product should be based off of that. Not that they couldn't come up and ask for certain things that say, can we go down this road? Do you have any objections? And give them the thumbs up or tell them, no, we're not interested. And I think it would save them a lot of time, a lot of frustration. And to include EDC, and nothing against what Linda's trying to do, it may be a good idea. I'm not one to weigh in on it, but it's just something I just want to highlight.
Yeah, probably if this is something that we don't want to go down, the P&Z needs to hear about it now so that we don't even go through these meetings and set them up unless we want to go down that road. This is somewhat similar to short-term rental. We've had short-term rental in Morgan's Point Resort for a long time. We took that, and when I say we, I'm gonna say the whole city council took that on at one point in time and decided to regulate it. We know that these type things are going on right now, at least from what we're hearing from EDC, and others would like to come in and develop their own small businesses in Morgan's Point Resort, which could then grow into some of the other things that EDC has been looking at. So this is kind of the impetus of it, thinking it's step one to get to step two, which would be some of these small cottages where you could start your own business in Morgan's Point Resort and can go forward from there. You know, some people can't afford rent. They have to do it out of their home. So there's been evidently some people that have come to EDC to be able to indicate that this is something they'd like to do in Morgan's Point, but they
I think the point is, as Neil says, EDC and P and Z and these others should not be out generating their own tasks. That should be something that the council says, we would like you to look into this. And that, one classic example was the trash set. They came in with the, you know, we want to do this, this, and this, and it's like, none of us had ever heard of it. It was like, to common sense, it was like, no, that's dumb. And then there was a lot of hurt feelings over that. And that was simply a lack of communication. If they had come to us and said, hey, what do you guys think about, we've had a question about this, and we said no, then that, but
Well, isn't the EDC, it's a freestanding entity, it's not, is it not? I mean, it's separate from the city. Right.
yeah.
Right. Well, I know anything they do basically has to come through council before it's ever completely funded or approved. Right.
Mayor, if I remember correctly, I think that the EDC tried to set up meetings with us over the summer before they went on forward with the budget, and I don't think we ever did that.
The opportunity was there, the change of direction was provided. It's one of those things, and I've explained it to Linda, she did want to meet with you all, and I think she changed, and this is my version of it, and she may tell you something different, but this is how I understood it at the time. She decided to have you all, or somebody attend their meetings. So they counseled them, she said, don't worry about it, we're going to go this route. That's up to her, but it's not a matter, but you have to let me know in advance enough so we can get things organized and get it on the agenda and what have you. So I think, no, the attendance wasn't there in that meeting that she was expecting. So then she needed to have that. The ideal way of doing it, if they need to have an EDC city council meeting, we can have a joint meeting for that, just like you can do the same thing with P and Z. There's different options they have, but we need to know for sure what you want, stay consistent with it, and we can get it scheduled. But if there's alternatives there, then explore those or get them off the table as an alternative and get the message you want us to follow up on.
So maybe we as council should all be encouraged to go to this January 23 meeting.
Well, then you run into another problem.
Yeah, I think they need, that if they're going to have a joint meeting with you all, we need to get it on the agenda, just like a regular meeting.
Okay.
And it's your meeting, and then, but there's a process we have to follow. And so just, I think she was, and talked to her about what she was expecting when she had this idea where they were going to, council members would just, a couple of you all would join one of her meetings. As long as it's not the quorum, they could have done that, I guess. But that's not what she's really looking for. I think she's wanting a joint meeting between the two. So that's something we just need to plan. And again, we can make it happen, but that's one of the things I think there's some confusion about what we needed from her, perhaps.
I think, Ken, it's a good time to put this out on the table. Who's running the train? And sometimes there's the appearance that maybe the caboose is running the locomotive, for a bad analogy. And council to go and do a study or do this or do that, not vice versa. Is the way I see it.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I think what happened was some people that live in Morgan's Point Resort came to EDC.
Well, then maybe they should have gone to the city.
That's very possible.
City
But-
manager would be a good point to start.
Well, it may be, but
Thank you, Dennis. Appreciate you volunteering for that.
I mean, that may be the case. But, and so EDC evidently took up the project at that point, moved forward with it. I evidently must have had some indication of meeting with city council to see what we can do and how we would go forward with it. And I'm not sure how that all turned out, but right now, you know, if y'all don't want us to do anything with it with P and Z, all you have to do is just say back off and we'll find another avenue for it. Because Linda, I'll speak for Linda here. She's done a lot of work on this and has put together some documents that would, if we did have an ordinance in place or something we could actually go by, she's done a lot of work to make it doable and restrictive in certain areas.
Yeah,
And,
but I'm concerned about that part of it.
right, I understand
You
where
know,
you're
there's,
going.
we're losing, no political statement, it's just we're losing what we thought was some ability to do things. I don't think we need to help the process by making more restrictions. What somebody does in their house, I understand there's whole business thing and all of that other stuff, but there's a line someplace. And I think, don't we have ordinances that say stuff like that about home businesses or something? I mean, we got an ordinance.
There's a very
We
small
don't have
one
an
in
ordinance
there.
on chickens yet, but we're going to get one. But it would seem to me that there's already something in place, and if you put a whole bunch of layers on top of it, you're not helping anybody, you're just giving somebody a hammer to go bang somebody in the head. That's not helping the guy that's trying to, you know, make a dollar on the side. I don't know, that's just my opinion.
Okay, I'm hearing it. Y'all tell me what you want to go.
And if you would like, Mayor and City Council, to get this, maybe it's a good time of year, first of the year, slowing down a little bit. Maybe we can get a joint, maybe the first of the year and maybe every 6 months. I think that's what she was talking about the last time I talked to her. That may not be formalized just yet, but maybe if it's not objectionable, maybe we can just set up a meeting next month for a joint council EDC meeting.
I think that'd be a good suggestion right there, is to just
I
have
think-
everybody meet, go from there, because right now, we're just shooting in the wind. And
I think she'd be okay with
I
that.
I would like to see us do a joint session with.
you want to try to do it on the 26th? Is that what you have your schedule,
23rd.
23rd?
or 21st?
23rd is what she had set up for the convention, for the event center.
Ain't wrong. Y'all want to try to set it with,
Well, let's
meet
put
with
it
them
on the
there?
calendar and see what happens.
I don't know what, because it's going from kind of like a community event, now we're looking at a joint meeting, and
Right.
she has to have a quorum, I'm sure. Same kind of stuff we do here. So let me get with her, let her know that you were all saying that you would like to have a meeting in January, and we'll try to get one scheduled.
It's one thing, just in my thoughts, is that we don't want to stifle businesses that are here, but we've also lived by neighbors that are just terribly noisy or messy or whatever, and that's not fun either. So I think finding a balance where we live as good neighbors, maybe some regulations might be in order. I'd like to at least hear it out first. I'd like to hear it out first.
And then we can tell what kind of paint you can put on your garage door.
Okay, Dennis, let's set that up and talk to Linda, and then go next item. You want to go to it? Thank you, Ken. We'll try to make that work out for, hopefully, get us all together at some point in time,
Sounds great.
and maybe we'll find out where we're going.
Okay, thank you.
I'll ask, if you don't mind, Mayor, to have Sam come up and talk about the chicken ordinance. That's 24-046.
There you go.
Great. Good evening. So for the chicken ordinances, we got good feedback from the city and the city council members. And we have incorporated and changed the chicken ordinances in terms of the language used. So we've changed 25 feet to 50 feet in sections ending 01 and 03, specifically stating away from any habitable structure of any other person other than the owner. So these changes have been made to the chicken ordinances, and the document has been shared with the.
Thank you.
And Mayor, we've got ordinance definitions as well on 047. Sam, do you have that too?
So for the ordinance definitions, the changes that were recommended by the city council at the last two meetings, the new dates have been added. In terms of the definition of church, Bible study changed to religious study, and list of priests, nuns changed to religious officiants. So these changes have been made to the document. For the two comments regarding garage parking and kennel recommended by the city council, they were not part of the changes or edits made by P&Z. So these are completely new sort of edits being recommended by the city council. So we would just need direction in terms of what to do, what kind of changes you would like being made. And I believe in my last two, in the last meeting, I shared a couple of examples from other cities in the region of their definitions for kennels and garage parking. So it's finalize it for the city.
And Mayor, City Council, I believe Sam told me, correct me if it's not correct, but didn't you say that was already the definition prior to prior years? So the garage parking was something that definition he provided to you all then is something that's been on the books for some time.
Yeah, PP&Z did not make those edits. It was the definition for garage parking is basically the same as it has been. No changes had been made. And Councilmember Dorothy just wanted, I believe she wanted to see how it related to the ordinance. What I can tell you is the garage parking is specifically for commercial activity. And just for residential, you have under the definitions, you have carport for residences. So that is the definition for carport is defined as a detached structure that is open on all sides, designed or used to shelter vehicles. We have not specified any number. Again, this is not from P&Z. This is the definition as is in the document.
So there was no changes.
No.
Okay, so with the garage parking, where it said you had to have at least 4 or more vehicles, that was for commercial property?
That is for commercial properties.
That would be nice if that would be clarified, I guess, in that document, so we'd understand, you know?
Mhm.
And like what about a attached garage that's on the house? Is that just not, that's part of residence? There's no separate definition for that then, right?
Yeah, that is correct.
Okay. And then I had the other one we talked about was the RV.
Mhm.
Because they didn't really clarify what an RV was very well. And so that would be another one I'd like to, I think I had a suggestion on just how to write it to make it said it would drive on its own, but there's RVs that you tow. So I just wanted to add towable to that
Mhm.
so that it would be more all-inclusive.
Probably a
Yeah.
generalized definition of RV without being specific about it, whether it's a motor home or a fifth wheel or whatever, because there's too many variations anymore.
Any feedback inputs from the city council, I can make those changes to the document. However, the city council sees fit.
You all want to put them in writing somewhere? And
A couple things that we had talked about. I guess just knowing that the garage is for a commercial, property. We don't have one here now, but if we did get one, it would be defined, so.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
You've got, I think he's got one more, Mayor.
Okay.
048, discuss planning and zoning, November 26th agenda. Is that something you all, somebody have that for discussion?
I believe we put that on the agenda just for the city council's reference.
So no discussion.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Anything else, Dennis? No, sir. Council, anybody have any other questions? Otherwise, we can mingle we started a little early.
Yeah.
We got about 30 minutes here to mingle with our citizens. We could always do a one-on-one, but